Whatever is beautiful, whatever is meaningful, whatever brings you happiness, may it be yours this holiday season and throughout this coming year. A blessed afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our 48th episode of DepEd Teaches, where you can expect innovative, meaningful, and exciting learning experience from the stellar roster of speakers. We would like to express our gratitude to all our avid and loyal viewers who have been tuning in here on DepEd Teaches since its inception last year. And we are also being live streamed in our social media platforms. We have the DepEd Philippines Facebook page, DepEd Tayo, and DepEd YouTube channel. We would like as well for our new viewers to please don't forget to follow, like, and share our official Facebook page, the DepEd Teaches. In today's episode, we will cover the same theme, which is teaching and learning in the new normal, regional strategies and initiatives across all learning areas. So good afternoon to you, Ma'am Ana. How are you so far? And what do we expect for our viewers in today's episode?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Sir July. First and foremost, we hope and we pray for the protection and safety of our dear friends and kababayan who are experiencing or those who are affected by Typhoon Odette right now. So I hope everyone is safe. Okay, so let's pray for the safety of our friends and kababayan. Now, in connection to what you've said, Sir July, it has been such a beautiful experience since we've started DepEd Teaches, for this has been an avenue to share outstanding programs, projects, and activities of our partners in the field. We've seen and heard the best practices and those challenges that were turned into opportunities. And we've had many and meaningful discussions so far since last year. And today, we will get the chance to discover how we have delivered instruction to our students with special needs, like how they've used the different modalities we've offered and how they have maximized the available resources just to ensure quality education.
Certainly, Ma'am Ana. And here in the Department of Education, our vision is to protect and promote the right of every Filipino to quality, equitable, culture-based, and complete basic education. And this right is for all, regardless of ethnicity, gender, age, social economic background, and more so abilities. Hence, we promote inclusive education. And according to UNICEF, inclusive education is the most effective way to give our children a fair chance to go to school, learn and develop the skills that they need to thrive. And inclusive education allows students of all backgrounds to learn and grow side by side to the benefits of all.
Very inspiring to hear that, Sir July. And that's actually what we advocate here. We ensure every Filipino has access to quality education, and that same goes for all our students, even for students with special needs. In accordance with the Convention of the Rights of the Child and the Convention on the Rights of the Persons with Disabilities, to which Philippines is a signatory, both clearly expressing the aim of guaranteeing and assuring quality education for all by providing the required holistic support to develop each child's potential. And so quality education can only be achieved when every child, including the learners with disabilities and difficulties in school, are receiving required learning for life.
But before we explore further our discussion on inclusive education and students with special needs, we will first do our usual icebreaker. And as always, we will ask four questions to our viewers, and they have to guess the terms or big ideas related to SPED and inclusive education. Our viewers, you are just to choose the letter of the best answer. Again, just type in the letter of the best answer in our live streaming page comment section. And for every question, you are given 30 seconds. All right, so I hope that instruction is clear to everyone. And I guess we are ready now. Ma'am Ana, let's do this.
All right, so let's show our first question, please. Number one, so this refers to the enrollment of child with special needs in a regular class with support services. A, mainstreaming, B, pull-out model, C, partial integration, or D, transition program. So please type in your answer now. Okay, so let's find out the correct answer. I guess this one is an easy question. So the correct answer is letter A, mainstreaming. So again, mainstreaming is about enrolling our child with special needs in a regular class with support services. They say that mainstreaming means that school is putting children with special needs into classroom with their peers who have no difficulties. And one study noted that students with disabilities or with difficulties had higher academic achievement when they divided their time between the resource room or during pull out and the regular classroom. So the special needs students also had higher self-esteem and developed better social skills because their peers became more tolerant and accepting.
That's certainly true, Ma'am Anna. And in addition, mainstreaming is an appealing, inclusive approach. It has both advantages and disadvantages. But the primary advantage of mainstreaming is that it provides a natural, real-world environment to our learners. And in such environment, important life skills are learned. It offers many rewarding opportunities for socialization. And also, mainstreaming exposes all children to diversity. And such diversity is naturally encountered in the real world. And this promote development in all kinds of our learners. All right, so let's now proceed to our second item. We can now show the card to our viewers. This is a kind of program where the child enrolled in the regular class reports to the resource room for a period of time for special instructions by the SPED teacher. So again, what is this kind of program where the child enrolled in the regular class reports to the resource room for a period of time for special instruction by the SPED teacher? Is it A, early intervention program, B, pull out, C, self-contained, or letter D, transition program? So dear viewers, 30 seconds start now. All right. So I think we can now reveal the correct answer in this item. The correct answer we are looking for here is letter B, pull out. So this is a kind of program when the child enrolled in the regular class reports to a resource room for a period of time for special instruction of the SPED teacher. And as noted by HERT in 2012, the pull-out program involves taking students out of their classroom for individualized or small group instruction. The instruction targets each student's learning needs. And pull-out programs for children with special needs, including learning disabled, gifted, or emotionally disturbed, are intended to provide a student with instruction in smaller class settings and with more individualized instruction. And the goal is to give the students better chance of success.
Sounds great, Sir July. And having pull out, I guess it's not that easy because this requires a time for collaboration and planning between the regular classroom teacher and the pull out teachers, like in terms of effective scheduling, remedial instruction in the classroom as well. Okay, so let's continue our discussion about inclusive education and SPED. Let's show question number 3. This pertains to a formal written document or plan that lays out the program of special education instruction supports, and service, kids need to make progress and thrive in school? Is it A, alternative delivery mode, B, individualized education program, C, lesson exemplar, or D, personalized learning plan? What do you think is the correct answer for this item? Okay, so let's find out. I guess that most of our SPED teachers are able to guess this one correctly. This is a familiar common tool. So the correct answer is letter B, Individualized Education Program, or IEP, which is a formal written document or plan that lays out the program of special education instruction. An IEP is a written statement of the educational program that meets the child's individual needs. So every child who receives special education services must have an IEP. The IEP has two general purposes: to set reasonable learning goals or targets for the child, depending on his or her needs, and to state the services that the school shall provide to the student or to the child.
That's indeed a very important document, Ma'am Ana, in inclusive education. And this document provides a systematic plan to help a student meet individual outcomes or goals beyond his or her current skills. And for this reason, an understanding of what students can and cannot do is essential to the individual instructional planning process. And each IEP is individual to the student for whom it is designed. And as members of the IEP team in the school, as the teachers and parents, should be part of the individual planning process and sign the IEP for the child. All right, so I think we can now proceed to our fourth and final item. So let us now show them our question. This is an approach that represents a paradigm shift, a movement away from a deficit-based approach that consists of questioning strategies to identify what works for the child and how it works for those strategies can be continued and developed to match the child's abilities. Again, so this approach that represents a paradigm shift, a movement away from a deficit-based approach that consists of questioning strategies to identify what works to our children and how it works so that these strategies can be continued and developed to match the child abilities. Itered instruction. B, social constructivism theory. Letter C, strength-based approach, or letter D, whole child approach. Okay, our dear viewers, 30 seconds start now. All right, so I think we can now reveal the correct answer in this item. So the answer that we are looking for in this item is letter C, strength-based approach. And as mentioned in the question, the strength-based approach represents a paradigm shift, a movement away from a deficit-based approach, which can lead to a long list of things considered to be wrong with a child's learning and development, or things a child cannot do. Body of research and evidence has shown support and strength-based approach that encourages education or educators to first understand what children's learning is a dynamic process, a complex and holistic, and second, to understand that children demonstrate their learning in different ways. Start with what's present and not what's absent, and write about what works for the child. All right, so just a quick recap of the terms and related associated to inclusive education that we had. So we have mainstreaming, pull-out model, we have individualized education program, and strength-based approach. So I hope this have been a good recap of our activity for our learners with special needs. And so at this juncture, we now formally introduce to you our resource speaker who will shed light on teaching and learning in the new normal, regional strategies and initiatives for inclusive and special education.
Dr. Manuela S. Tolentino is the school's division superintendent of the City Division of Santa Rosa City Region 4A Calabarzon. A graduate of Doctor of Education major in Educational Management of Yuloyo Amang Rodriguez Institute of Science and Technology. She obtained her specialization in special education and early childhood education from the Philippine Normal University as DepEd PNU Scholar. At present, she is having her part-time graduate class teaching at De La Salle University, Dasmariñas, teaching Masters in SPED and Educational Management, and Doctor of Education in Erie's Cavite campus. She rose from the rank as elementary grade school teacher, school principal, education program supervisor for SPED, and kindergarten. After passing the career executive written examination way back in 2012 and the education management test in 2013, she was appointed as OIC Assistant Schools Superintendent of the Division of Cavite Province. In 2014, she was promoted to OIC Schools Division Superintendent of the City Schools Division of Dasmariñas. And in 2018, she became full-fledged Schools Division Superintendent. In 2007 till 2012, she was a DepEd curriculum writer in the development of modified curriculum in SPED for different disabilities like hearing impaired, autism, intellectual disability, and giftedness. She's a lecturer, trainer, and facilitator in trainings related to special education and kindergarten across regional, national, and even international level. Dr. Tolentino was also one of the writers of DepEd 40-week curriculum for early childhood education and school readiness assessment tests for kindergarten. Just recently, she was invited to talk about inclusion in early childhood education in Maldives.
Deepening commitment in education of learners with special needs, or the LSENS, she received the Queensland University Technology Australian Awards Scholarship for Inclusive Education in 2017 as lead fellow for Developing Region 4A Calabarzon as Lighthouse of Inclusive Education in the Philippines, together with 14 others. She led the program to strengthen the implementation of inclusive education in the region through the different divisions. She was assigned as SDS and created programs and projects like the Inclusive Education Caravan, Project K3 or Kaklase, Kasama Kita in the City Division of Dasmariñas. Inclusive Education Leadership Management in Batangas Province Division, which is the Usapang Kapeng Barako, and the B2B Over a Cup of Coffee in the City Schools Division of Santa Rosa City. Together with other fellows from Cavite, Laguna, Rizal, and Batangas, and even Quezon, they worked and collaborate with each other to help and advocate inclusive education and strengthen its implementation in the region. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's all give a virtual round of applause to the Schools Division Superintendent of the City Division of Santa Rosa, Region 4A Calabarzon, none other than Dr. Manuela S. Tolentino.
Teaching and learning in the new normal, regional strategies and initiatives for inclusion and special education. It differs, yet it fits. While all teachers are struggling with the new normal, special education teachers in particular are facing unparalleled challenges transitioning both their teaching and their students and families to home-based instruction tailored to each student needs. Inclusion teachers felt the same way. When we say learners with special needs, we talk about an umbrella of ages, interests, abilities, and disabilities, within which are individual needs identified by their individualized education plan. Both special education teachers and general education teachers questioned how much parents and caregivers will be able to help, given that students with special needs often rely on specialized coaching and instruction like cues or sensory activities that keep them on task. Our SPED and regular teachers also worry their students with special needs may be disproportionately impacted by the upheaval brought by the coronavirus. There are three issues that confronted them most in teaching our learners with special education needs in this new normal, particularly in Region 4A Calabarzon. First, the learning modality the student with learning needs will fit most. Second, strategies to handle behavior of learners with special education needs at home. And third, lack of parents and other caregivers' knowledge in facilitating learning at home. Region 4A was regarded as lighthouse of inclusive education in the Philippines. There are 14 fellows sponsored by Australian Awards, QUT in Australia during the scholarship training granted for Region 4A Calabarzon leaders, supervisors, school heads, and teachers. Inspired by no other than USECDAD San Antonio and guided by our smart and intelligent Regional Director, Francis Panchet Piñas. Region 4A Calabarzon and the fellows provided a clear direction for the region in the implementation of inclusive education, specifically to learners with special needs, or our LSENs. In this time of pandemic, Lighthouse Fellows all over Region 4A Calabarzon try to respond to the challenges faced. Teachers develop specific and innovative ways and policy initiatives, such as providing equitable and inclusive access to digital learning resources and good learning conditions, ensuring that socio-emotional needs are being met, offering equitable and inclusive access to extra services for vulnerable students, as well as ensuring support by and to the teachers. The teacher's work transforms from a direct learning model to a coaching model. The teacher now supports the families through the process of understanding school expectations and goals and objectives. First, you have to set up home-based learning. While time is of the essence, special education educators recommend working on establishing an appropriate learning environment and objectives for students and their families before launching into a detailed list of to-dos and daily activities. We started it with a design, the Universal Design for Learning, or UDL. Differentiated instruction followed next, and then other design strategies were implemented. Let us take up Universal Design for Learning. It is a curriculum and instruction that includes alternatives to make learning accessible and appropriate for individuals with different backgrounds, learning preferences, abilities, and disabilities in widely varied learning contexts. It is an educational concept or approach to designing instructional methods, materials, activities, and evaluation procedures in an effort to assist individuals with wide differences in their abilities to see, hear, speak, move, read, write, understand English, attend, organize, engage, and remember. There are 3 principles for this. First, provide multiple means of representation, or the what of learning. Learners differ in the ways that they perceive and comprehend information that is presented to them. For example, those with sensory disabilities like blindness or deafness, learning disabilities like dyslexia, language or cultural differences, and so forth may all require different ways of approaching content. Others may simply grasp information quicker or more efficiently through visual or auditory means rather than printed text. Providing options for representation is essential. Second principle, provide multiple means of action and expression, or the how of learning. Learners differ in the ways that they can navigate a learning environment and express what they know. For example, individuals with significant movement impairments like those with cerebral palsy, those who struggle with strategic and organizational abilities or executive function disorders, those who have language barriers, and so forth, approach learning tasks very differently. Some may be able to express themselves well in written text, but not in speech, and vice versa. Providing options for action and expression is very essential. Third principle, provide multiple means of engagement, or the why of learning. Affect represents a crucial element to learning, and learners differ markedly in the ways in which they can be engaged or motivated to learn. Some learners are highly engaged by spontaneity and novelty, while others are disengaged, even frightened. Some learners might like to work alone, while others prefer to work with their peers. In reality, there is not one means of engagement that will be optimal for all learners in all contexts, Providing multiple options for engagement is essential. Then how are we going to do universal design for learning? We will do it through differentiated instruction. It is an instructional process that offers teachers flexibility in the ways they deliver instruction, provide learning activities, and assess students to meet the needs of the individual learner. The framework consists of content, process, or output. Content is the what, process the how, and the output the why of learning. Universal design for learning refers to the design of learning activities, planning curriculum activities in such a way as to ensure all learners are able to access them, while differentiated instruction refers to the implementation of this plan, the pedagogical techniques used in classroom to deliver appropriately designed curriculum to wide range of learners. UDL is for all kinds of students, not just for students who learn differently. Even though many of our technologies and strategies may have been designed originally for diverse learners, the results have benefited countless others. And UDL has the potential to produce a more inclusionary school environment, removing barriers to access to the general curriculum. Teachers' roles and skills are irreplaceable, of course, and their daily contact with students places them among the most important agents of inclusion in education. Amid the COVID-19 crisis, they are the core actors guiding their students through the intensification of online distance learning. And to address the issues on learning modality, where students with learning needs will fit most, a survey was made and parents of the LSENs expressed their sentiments. For them, they prefer face-to-face, but then with the restrictions offered by the IATF and the number of COVID cases in Region 4A, Calabarzon, we cannot adhere to the request. But then, all ways and means are exhausted to meet the needs of the SPED learners. For the modular distance learning delivery, several efforts are undertaken, like in Tagaytay City SPED Center, Division of Cavite Province, Project Transmoco or Transpomo ang module ko was implemented. Learning kits were distributed to each household of the learners with the support from the CSWDO and PDAO focal heads. This is done through a scheduled pick-up and delivery strategy. Each kit was disinfected before transport for the safety and welfare of each learner and PDAO employees. For online delivery modality, they have the Project COVID or Communication on Virtual Inclusion Development. It is a process of monitoring learners under inclusive education through several platforms, ensuring the learning of LSENs or SPED learners will be given virtual verbal assistance through different social media platforms. In the Division of Santa Rosa City, ang NGAT program of the division or Amplified New Governance and Academic Technovation, access to gadgets for online learning delivery was made possible. All 323 SPED students were provided with tablet for their online learning. Utilizing UDL and differentiated instruction in teaching and learning for SPED students and inclusion in the new normal is carried out by the following teaching and learning strategies. First, we have behavioral checklist attached with a weekly home learning plan. It is a checklist that will help parents to monitor behavior of learners with autism at home, submitted weekly to the SPED and regular teachers. Second, we have the digitalized TikTok developed by Teacher Ruth. It is an online intervention to facilitate learning and engagement in mathematics. Teacher Che of Dr. Roserizal SPED Center employs adaptation in pedagogy. includes modification or differentiation in instruction and activities, from self-learning modules to help learners complete the assigned task with minimum assistance of the parent and their guardians. She also used Count Me In. This is a strategy that lets the learner demonstrate or join celebration of school activities while doing it at home, like earthquake drill, United Nations Day, Nutrition Month, and the like. Teacher Tan has his project Sign, Instruct, Gain, and Nurture. This is to facilitate learners with disabilities in learning sign language, learning materials of learners with hearing impairment, which are incorporated with sign language. He also has this project Contact or Convert and Tactile, to convert printed illustrations to braille and tactile for learners with visual impairment. Teacher Annie in St. Joseph Learning Center of General Mariano Alvarez, Cavite, employs direct instruction wherein parents are trained to do the instruction with the guide of the SPED and the regular teachers. To address the issues and challenges of home-based learning and parents as facilitators of learning, these are the strategies employed in Calabarzon. In the division of Santa Rosa City, parents' webinar session to understand their roles as facilitators of learning at home was undertaken. Filipino Sign Language training for parents to address their needs in understanding each other at home was facilitated by Teacher Ting. Online kumustahan and one-on-one monitoring and consultation with parents and learners was also employed. Teacher Indy of Tagaytay Elementary School has her Teach to Teach. This is a strategy, a division initiative training for home learning facilitators of kindergarten learners, including those in the inclusion program, and online group, Kumustahan, with the learners with autism. In here, learners' need-based activity sheet for enhancement intervention was also facilitated. Tagaytay City Special Education Center conducted virtual Chikaa to all the learners with disabilities under the self-contained classes and inclusive education. This program aims to help learners and parents through digital social media platforms to address the needs of the learners and track the learners' progress and status. Meanwhile, the conduct of research to address issues and challenges met in teaching and learning of SPED learners in this new normal was conducted by a teacher team of Santa Rosa City. Project Dame, development of appropriate instructional materials for deaf and hard of hearing children in the new normal. Let us watch this short video of her research.
Action research titled Project Dame, development of appropriate instructional materials for deaf and hard of hearing in the new normal was developed by Magandang and Nelia Tabuyo to encourage special education teachers to make instructional materials for learners with special needs in the classroom setting. The research applied the descriptive quantitative approach to determine how special education teachers could make instructional materials in sign language. And the instructional materials like ADM modules, learning activity sheets, and videos was being validated by the school learning resource management team and now being used by the deaf and other hearing learners in the inclusion setting. Through the policy and guidelines of the Schools Division Office of Santa Rosa, the research project name was now being adapted and utilized by different schools in the SDO Santa Rosa in response to inclusive education program.
At your service is Manuela Santiago Tolentino, Schools Division Superintendent of the City Schools Division of Santa Rosa City, Australian Awards Fellows, and an advocate of inclusive education. Thank you for listening, and mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you so much, Dr. Manuela Tolentino, for sharing with us all the innovative strategies and approaches in teaching our learners with special needs as your region's flagship activities to promote inclusive education. And truly, DepEd admires all your initiatives, activities, and shared vision for inclusive education. And we hope also our viewers are more than ever motivated to continuously improving their craft of teaching and learning in the new normal. Keep in mind that what we all do here is always for the best interest of our learners regardless of their types. And so to all our live audience on DepEd Teaches Facebook page and all the rest of our social media platforms, don't forget to share your insights and comments using the hashtag I support DepEd Teaches, and hashtag DepEd Teaches episode 48. And you can also share all your selfie posts while you were listening in today's presentation. And we really love to hear all your feedback.
Don't forget to register. You can see on the screen, it was just shown to you the QR code or the link to access the registration. And next week, we will have the evaluation. If you need a recap, just visit our official Facebook page, the DepEd Teaches. Once again, thank you so much for tuning here, and we hope to see you for our last episode for this year next week.
On behalf of the curriculum and instruction strand, once again, thank you so much for spending your Thursday afternoon with us. Remember, inclusive and good quality education is the foundation of dynamic and equitable societies. So let us continue inspiring and motivating others to strive for the best. For here on DepEd Teaches, our mission is empowering teachers, enabling learners. A blessed afternoon, everyone.